How does the Sikh community see being queer? Because different beliefs and faiths are often expected to react a certain way to my existence as a queer person, this makes me curious. What is the general belief surrounding queerness in Sikhism? Simran?
This is a very complex question. So, small disclaimer, I'm from America, and I can really only speak to my experiences in a Western country. There are two factors. Number one, what the gurus teach, and number two, the influence that Punjabi culture has on the Sikh community. Most Sikhs are Punjabi. Sikhi originated in Punjab, and Punjabi culture has a very rigid view of gender roles and sexuality. Because of that, there are a number of Sikhs who can be homophobic and transphobic. There are also a number of Sikhs who will say that they are respectful of queer people as long as they aren't Sikh.
Right. I mean, an upcoming Pride Parade in Amritsar, India was just cancelled due to threats. So hate and mistreatment toward the queer community definitely exists within the Sikh community, like it unfortunately does in the world in general. But nowhere in the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Sikh holy scripture and present eternal and living Guru, is there even a mention of homosexuality or being transgender.
In fact, the Guru has always emphasized equality amongst all people, as well as fighting against oppression and injustice. When it comes to the Sikh view on queerness, I actually had an opportunity a couple years ago to speak to a Sikh scholar, and he was in full support of queer people and their right to be Sikh and live just as anyone else does. And many other Sikh scholars say the same.
And most importantly, the Gurus have never condoned or encouraged hatred or prejudice towards anyone. And that sentiment isn't uncommon amongst the community because of core Sikh principles, specifically Ik Onkar, the belief in the oneness of existence.
Exactly. Overall, the Sikh community is divided on their views of being queer, and especially being queer and Sikh. But those who are homophobic and transphobic tend to be more guided by cultural attitudes towards the queer community rather than actual Sikh teachings. In fact, there is one ang of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that speaks about transformations and miracles that could happen under Vaheguru's power. One being the female is transformed into male and the male into female. And this is a very metaphorical verse in nature, and it is most definitely not literally talking about transgender people. However, the idea of this transformation is regarded as holy and miraculous rather than in a negative light.
Look, fighting for justice and equality for all, opposing hate and prejudice, protecting and helping the marginalized and oppressed, and recognizing the divine light within all of us, that is Sikhi at its core. So it seems obvious to us that Sikhi embraces supporting the queer community. Let us know if y'all have any more questions regarding Sikhi and queer identities and experiences.